All right, guys.
Happy to chat after.
How's it going, guys? So, yeah, a lot to talk about. So, like, we were running all the way to the hour and really good stuff. So, we were hyping you guys up as well. So, we're welcoming the virtual panel. I'd say, maybe for each of you guys, if you can give yourself maybe like a couple of minutes, introducing yourself, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. So I'm looking at how it looks. So maybe we'll start with Jordan, and then go from there.
For sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. How's it going, guys? Shout out to Brian for putting this together. But yeah, my name is Jordan Welch. I currently own a software business called Viral Vault, and I host events with my team at Underground Earners, as I'm wearing the shirt. And basically, I've been in the e-commerce space for like 3 years. I built a dropshipping store in 2016. I used that momentum to turn that into a brand. And then I started taking my knowledge and information and trying to see how I could use that to help start a YouTube channel. And that grew pretty substantially. So now I'm focused on this software company, which ties all of that together, ties my e-commerce knowledge, ties my connections, ties my platform that I've built. And basically what it is the all-in-one e-com toolkit. So we give people products every day to sell with all the marketing material that they would need and training content along with a private community. So that's what I'm focused on. And yeah, that's what I do.
Really awesome. Welcome, brother. Yeah, thanks for being here.
For sure.
Go to Kevin.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Kevin. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, here's sort of my gist. I started e-commerce a year ago, specifically in August 2018. In July 2018, I had $3,000 of credit card debt and no income. My sites were failing. And, in August 2018, my whole entire life just changed. And we just closed out our first year. And it's also my first year as an entrepreneur. So I'm a year out of college. We just closed our first year having done $20 million in sales. So sort of pinching myself all the time, like my life just went 180 in the course of a year. And I think, for all you audience members, there should just be like a lot of excitement that you guys feel right now, because we live in a crazy world with a bunch of opportunity. And if you think about it, like none of these stories, any of these guys that are killing it in their own rights would be possible 10, 20 years ago when technology wasn't this sophisticated, when you couldn't just advertise to the world from, your boxers in your dorm room, and you couldn't just find products to sell that easily without having connections. And you needed millions of dollars of upfront capital back then to make any sort of legitimate business. So it's kind of a crazy world that we live in, and there's a lot of opportunity out there, and it's certainly changed my life. So outside of managing my e-commerce business, I started off dropshipping like most people and moved on into sort of white label dropshipping or brand building, still products from China, but just a lot more sophisticated and I would say highbrow than your average AliExpress sort of reseller. And then on the side, I'm also very focused on e-commerce education. So I really didn't have any money when I first started. And it kind of makes me really upset when I see all the scammy courses and these gurus and stuff all around the web, like preying on a lot of newbies, because I started everything with $3,000. If I had wasted all of that on like a stupid course, I'd be royally screwed, right? And so I have a group called Generation E that I'm very focused on right now. And all the content we provide is absolutely free. And we also invest in the people that we educate. And that's how we make a financial return. So, we don't make any money unless our students do. And we don't make any return on our time unless our students crush it, and they do crush it. So that's what I'm very focused on aside from running my businesses.
Awesome, Kevin. Yeah, thanks, man. It's a powerful story for sure. And if you caught that, 1 year into it. So really great stuff. So let's go to Joe.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll keep it quick for you guys. Basically, background for me was I got started about 2 years ago. I was playing Division II ice hockey over at Millersville here. I'm out in Philadelphia right now. Millersville's over in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was going through a bad breakup. I lost most of my friends in my life. I was going through a rough period of time, and I kind of got sucked into the entrepreneurship community and realized that, maybe that happened for a reason. So I started playing around with drop shipping. I wasn't sure what it was. I had some friends kind of dabbling in it. I didn't pay for any courses in the beginning. I probably lost about $2 or $3 grand doing trial and error. At which point I decided to buy a few courses, none of which ever decided to actually provide any value. They were all basic YouTube content that I was already getting value to. And I was very discouraged. So I almost gave up, but thank God I had a good friend of mine at school at the time who was doing somewhat decent and showed me what he was doing with Facebook advertising, that is. And I started a company called Mountaineer Gear. It was a camping brand. And basically, long story short, is I took it to about 50K in sales and asked my dad if he would support me to take a semester off of school. I took a semester off of school and I did a road trip across the country to clear my mind and kind of focus on what I wanted to do in life. But while I was doing the road trip, I was actually sleeping in the same tent, using the same backpack, wearing the same boots that I was selling on my website, Mountaineer Gear. And I really built a strong brand around it, and it kind of blew up. So I hit about 6 figures with it, sold it off. And then right at the time that I sold it off was kind of when that AirPods trend was kind of booming. So I was one of the first people to hop on that trend, made a decent amount with that. And after building 2 6-figure businesses, I realized that I had some friends and family asking me for help, wanting to learn things like that. And I was very mad, kind of like Kevin said, that most of the courses in the space were kind of really screwing people over, weren't providing good value. So I created my own course for $50, offered it to friends, family, and people on social media, was getting some really good results. And after scaling the price and adding more content, we had over 250 students in about a 1-year time period. And between those 250 students, there was over seven figures in sales revenue. But there was one thing I didn't like. I did not like being in the course space because you had some people doing really well and you had some people that weren't getting any results, and they would talk bad about your products or your services. So I didn't want my reputation to be determined by somebody else's work ethic or their results. So what I did was started Styber Consulting, which is what I do full time now. It's a 6-figure marketing agency on its way to 7 figures, where basically we grow social platforms online and run advertisements for businesses. And I'm still very active in the e-commerce community because about 50 to 75%, I would say, of our clients are strictly e-commerce businesses. So we spend a lot of day-to-day actually running ads and kind of creating the campaigns out for people that have e-commerce businesses looking to get to successful ROAS and things of that nature.
Powerful. Yeah, great stuff for sure. And so one of and for the virtual panel, the theme that we've been talking about, because it's like a very special day in ecom, is like the beginning of Q4. And we started talking with the audience here, and we gave Sean, Ramzey, and George a chance to share their insights. And it was actually powerful. It's recorded. And like I said, we're going to share the recording with whoever drops their email, because they were dropping some really great stuff in there. But the question was, if you were to start today and to try to prepare for like Black Friday and Q4, what would you do right now going forward? And let's maybe start in the same order.
So I think it depends more so on where you're at. Because if you don't have a store and you don't have any money coming in, that needs to be your focus, is getting things going first. It's not going to make a difference just because it's Black Friday or the holiday. The store is not going to blow up. But if you are currently having a store, my best piece of advice would be to focus more on the existing customers and the data that you've already had, because just because it's Black Friday or just because it's Christmas, you can't just run a cold traffic offer and expect it to do 10 times better than the other ones that you've ran in the past. Sure, it's going to perform good because it's a season, it's doing well, but the way that you're going to be able to capitalize the most is by leveraging the data that you're already having. We've seen that just consistently with the stores, and it is pretty incredible how active people will buy, especially in their emails, especially with retargeting during this time frame. So that would be my piece of advice. And then, if you don't have a store, you got to start testing, you got to get it going, and then you can capitalize off these things. But don't look at them as like the golden ticket, regardless of all the marketing you hear. So.
Awesome. Good point, man. How about it, Kevin?
Yeah, so I think, echoing some of his points, first thing is there's no better time to start an e-commerce business than today, right now, as soon as you go home, because you're about to miss out on what is the, Lollapalooza of e-commerce, which is fourth quarter, right? November and December are crazy times. And for some reason, just consumers around the world have an itch to just spend their money in terrible ways, right? I think it's just like a phenomenon that people experience. So, you know, if you haven't started, like you should have fire on your ass to like really try to get something going, get something scaling, start collecting data, start testing strategies and creatives, so that when fourth quarter actually hits, like you're going to benefit from it. Because not only is fourth quarter really, really significant, but there's a slowdown period. Obviously depends on the seasonality of your niche and the products you're playing in, but there's a slowdown period right after fourth quarter because everyone sort of got their shopping out of the way and everyone sort of, you know, has already spent their money and has already been in this craze. So, you know, you don't want to start out in like January and like have that be like your first start point. For people that are already running operations, I think the big thing is about right now is about getting all your infrastructure like set, right? So organizationally, that means that you're very conscious that there's going to be a lot of holidays that are coming up in China. So if you're getting your products from China, like talk to your supplier, talk to your team about how do I set aside things so I don't run a shortage, right? If you're very confident that eventually you'll be able to sell whatever you're trying to sell, then now's a good time to like take some inventory, right? And to be ready. The next thing is like building your infrastructure from a customer support perspective, right? Like making sure that you're going to be able to accommodate like the level of scale you guys are going to do. So just to give you guys an example, like for Black Friday for me, and this was my first year, so this was my first Black Friday ever. I had no idea, but my scales went up. My sales went up like 6 to 8 times across all of my sites. And it was just like a crazy day. And we had a lot of issues because we didn't have enough customer support reps because we weren't expecting it, right? We didn't have enough product, right? Like literally if you're drop shipping, like you're kind of at the whim of your supplier. We didn't have enough product. We had all these issues. We didn't have logistics figured out yet. Like a lot of people are ordering for Christmas, so they don't get their stuff by Christmas for their friend or for their family member that they're gifting it to. You're about to get hit by chargebacks and terrible reviews, right? So anticipate that this tidal wave is going to come and build that infrastructure organizationally, which is what most people forget to do. And then finally, from an advertising perspective, there's also infrastructure you need to do, right? Retargeting, like Jordan mentioned, kills it on Black Friday. Email campaigns kill it, right? Retargeting in general kills it. So you need to have an audience to actually retarget. If you start scaling the day before Black Friday, you're not going to get anyone to retarget. You're not going to get any warm traffic to sort of push over the ledge if they were considering buying. So you need to start building your email list, start building your sales data, start knowing which demographics are going to click like earlier, right? Start getting your pixels smarter and smarter and smarter. And a golden nugget I would just give you guys right now for absolute free is broad, no targeting at all, just across the United States or the world. Kills it on Black Friday, but that only works if your pixel has a lot of conversion events. So I ran like no targeting at all. Like a 4-year-old could have set my campaigns on Black Friday and just absolutely crushed it, right? So that's something you guys should be looking forward to.
That's really great stuff. Awesome, man. How about it, Joe? What's up, man?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I think there's kind of like both of these guys touched up on, there's two sides to it, right? There's the side of, I already have a business up and launched and I want to get started and don't really know where to start. So for those of the people in the room that don't really have a business that want to go home and start one, there's two sides to it, right? I mean, you got to find a product that solves a problem, in my opinion. Okay. So like most people buy off of a lot of different, reasons, but one of the biggest is that it solves a problem. So it could be, solving the problem of making someone feel prettier. It could be solving an actual problem of, causing an issue or a break. There's problems are all over the place, but you have to figure out a product and what that problem that it's solving is. And then you have to design your marketing and your brand around the problem that it solves. And then after you build that out, after you find what that product is, for me, it was, staying dry when you're camping and going out and, making sure that, you actually have an enjoyable outside experience. I marketed it that way. So then once you kind of have built the foundation and you know what you're selling, the problem, the problem that you're solving is, you have to kind of design everything, and the infrastructure is really big. So there's two sides to that. One is making sure that you're running the specific advertisements to get the end result from your customer. So what that means is basically a lot of people will take the same video off AliExpress, run it as an advertisement, or they'll get one ad made and they'll run it to 1 million people and they'll retarget with the same video. That's not going to work. You need to touch these people multiple different times and you have to market them strategically. So we build out our marketing campaign from the beginning before we actually even launch the store. So what that means is that we'll have a different video ad with different text creatives for each step of the process. One being brand awareness, or somebody who's never seen our product before. And then we'll have we'll have a video awareness too, to make sure that they actually, are still interested. So for example, just a video about the product and our brand, if they watch 10%, they'll get another video very similar to that. If they watch 10% again, we give them a traffic ad. And then after that, they get a conversion ad. Obviously, you can go straight for conversion when you have a lot of pixel data. And some people will tell you just to go straight for it. It does work. I'm not saying don't test it, but it's a lot cheaper in the actual ad phase when you kind of funnel people down this process. So we have different ads built out for each step. And then aside from that is collecting the data that you have to retarget, which both of these guys touched up on. So having an email pop up and offering them, a certain percentage off their order, or saying that you do a big giveaway once a month to, somebody who subscribes to the email list, you can retarget that way. You want to make sure that maybe you do some influencer giveaways. So I know a lot of people, I've done it for my EXO AirPods, the AirPods brand. Rather than launching Facebook ads in the beginning, what I did was invested about $2K into really, vetted influencers to basically post the ad, traffic a lot of data to the website. And then once Facebook kind of learned who was actually interacting, it made the actual process of running ads a little bit cheaper and a little bit easier. So you want to collect as much data as possible. You want to figure out the problem that your product is solving, and then you want to build your marketing campaign around that and have different steps for each phase of the process. We lost you, Brian. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. And actually, I apologize because I didn't give you guys perspective of the audience. So I'd say about half were already, into e-commerce or drop shipping, and then half are looking to get started. So that's kind of the perspective of the audience. And then the other thing is, right now, I'd say, maybe, we got the whole panel here. So we can even use this time if you guys do have some questions for either one of the panelists. You can feel free to raise your hand and start asking questions now, or even think about it right now as we go into the next thing. So the other thing that we talked about here in person was kind of like the mindset and testing. So we led into, what would you do if you were to start again and to prepare, in Q4, now with that mindset and being mindful of testing, maybe share a little bit about that with the audience.
If you could describe a little bit better, you just asking about like testing in general, like the approach to it?
Yeah, just kind of like the tester's mindset. So like, there's that scenario where some people like, they might give up after, if it didn't work on the first, 1, 2, or 3 products that they tried and they didn't get smashing success like the other Lambo gurus that they see on YouTube. So it's like, what would you say about the importance of testing and having that mindset?
Well, I'm sure if the other guys talked about it, they mentioned this in one form or another. But the truth of the matter is there is no such thing as it just happening with anything, not just dropshipping. Like I've never seen that in my life where somebody just tried something the first time and it worked. Dropshipping more than anything requires significant amount of testing. And the one thing I would say is just having a strategy in place. Like don't just randomly test. Try to study what was working for somebody else. Try to reverse engineer the process and follow along with that. But you really just got to stay consistent. I could go talk about that for like a really long time. But if you've already talked about testing mindset and stuff like that, I don't want to repeat what's already been brought up.
Cool. Yeah. No worries, Kevin.
Yeah, so I'll sort of segment into 2 portions. One is sort of like your personal mindset and what you need to do during these few months, and then one is like sort of your business, more executable sort of things. On a personal level, like this should just be the period in your year that you work the hardest that you've ever worked before, because you have the potential to make like 40-50% of all the sales that you're about to do in a whole year in like a month or 2, right? So it's like, if there's ever been a point in your life where you decide to tell yourself like, okay, I'm really just going to grind my fucking ass off and like, I'm going to shut everyone out. And it's like, this is the ultimate time to like really, really start hustling, right? It's like if you're an Olympic athlete and the Olympics is like a year away, you have an extra kick to your step, right? Imagine the Olympics was like 2 months away. You have an extra kick to your step than 4 years ago, right? And this is sort of the same thing. It's like Q4 is like your Olympics. So everything that you're doing already, just ramp it up. It's like you have to be better, because all of a sudden you're about to get rewarded more for your hard work and your proactiveness than any other point in the year, right? So you can have the same work ethic in March or February and be doing the same things, and your output is not going to be as big of a multiple as it will be in fourth quarter, right? So first one, from a personal standpoint, it's like, if you don't have a site, you got to just go home and grind it out. Like, if you really want it, this is like a period of time to do it, right? From a business sort of operational perspective, so obviously people make a lot of money doing this, like doing general stores or sort of finding viral products. I actually am very anti that approach. So what I do is, like, I try to build niches, right? So I try to build sites that if you go onto there, you wouldn't even know it was a drop shipping. So there's cohesiveness in products, right? So if I'm selling like cycling materials, right, there's going to be cycling tops, bottoms, cycling accessories, etc., right? Everything's sort of cohesive and collective. So I'm not as obsessed about finding viral products every week, or like finding this viral product this month until it dies, and then, like, you know, trying to film this like single product video. For me, it's like, it's a lot harder for it to initially gain traction, but once it gains traction, it lasts for a really long time, and it's really, really resilient. If you went onto any of my dropshipping sites or e-commerce sites, you wouldn't even be able to tell they were dropshipping websites unless you really, really did your investigation, or like you really were into dropshipping already, right? So that's sort of my approach. Second is, like, you just need something. You need the right answers to something before fourth quarter hits, right? So if you think about the different reasons why a customer would buy or would not buy, just walk through the path, right? They see an advertisement. So one reason why a customer may not buy is because your advertisement sucks, right? Another reason is you're targeting the wrong person. The audience you're going after sucks. Another reason can be because your website, your landing page, your website design, your product descriptions, you know, your product pages suck. The website isn't converting. And then finally, it can be because your retargeting is bad, right? Or even after that, your customer support policy is bad. So you're getting a terrible rep. These are all the different stages in this long journey between someone deciding to part ways with their hard-earned cash for your business, right? So you need to have a really good answer to each part of this for at least one concept before you can take advantage of fourth quarter. So before fourth quarter hits, you should have a good idea of what type of ads are working, what type of audiences are resonating. I know my website isn't converting at a 0.5% rate. You know, it's converting pretty high for my price range. And I know that my retargeting is on point because I've already done so much testing on retargeting. And I know that my customer support policy is going to be okay. And I know I have enough customer support agents to be okay. So you need a kind of right answer for every step of the process. And if you don't have one, if there's even one point in this long customer experience that you're like iffy about, or like, oh man, this is where I'm going to really get screwed, you need to fix it, right? Because you want to go into fourth quarter like feeling prepared and excited and ready, not like, oh shit, I'm finally trying to figure things out for the first time.
Awesome stuff, man, for sure. Joe, how about it, man? What's up?
I mean, I think those guys touched up on it, so I won't waste too much time. I want to get to the next question so we can cover as many as possible. But I mean, I think that it's cliche as fuck, but I mean, at the end of the day, guys, and it's very simple, right? What you're seeing on social media is the best of the best, okay? You know, we don't all post our failures. We do sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, we're posting the good days. And, you know, that's what you guys are seeing. So when you guys see the good days and you guys aren't having it, you guys get discouraged and you want to give up. And the end of the day is we all have bad days. None of us are doing well. And Bill Gates says it. If you're comparing yourself to somebody else, you're doing yourself an injustice, and you're literally, you know, you're disrespecting yourself because you know what you have. You know the potential that you have. And, you know, it's just about testing and not giving up. If you're not seeing results, you're not failing. You're just not doing something right. You need to stop looking at it as a failure and look at it as a learning experience and figure out what you didn't do right. Was my ad copy not right? Was my, you know, cost per link click too high? If my cost per link click was too high, what can we do to get that down? There are tons of different variables, and I could waste an hour and a half going over each and every single one of them. But the bottom line is, don't get discouraged, because we all tried a million different things before we were successful, and we spent a lot of money and we poured everything that we have into it. And that's why we were successful. A lot of people want to kind of, you know, push it off as a side hustle, invest a couple dollars here and there. When it's not successful, they move on to the next thing. Like, how much did you really spend on that product? Did you have multiple videos for each step of that phase? Were you retargeting data? Did you understand how to retarget? And did you have your pixel set up properly? You have to, like, everything is a learning process. Just because you weren't successful, maybe you didn't understand something correctly. Maybe your ad wasn't the best. Maybe you're using somebody else's ad. It could be a lot of different variables. So use it as a learning phase is the end of is basically all I have to say, because you're not going to be successful at the beginning and you're not going to be successful even after your second or third product. And if you are, you're one of the very few.
Really good. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, the takeaway here, guys, is that, you know, it's really hitting home on the mindset. I've seen far too many people quit way too soon. And that's why I've asked you guys to touch on that. And especially people that are getting started. And, you know, I turn around, ask a question, they think it didn't work for them. And, you know, they just barely gave it a try. Every one of these panelists will be the first to tell you they grinded it out. And
I mean, we're still grinding it out. I'm working fucking 18 hours a day. I'm 10 years into this thing.
It never stops.
It's not a glorious like thing, honestly. Like, James can see me on fucking Slack at 3 a.m. like, and I'm in the office at 9 a.m. Like, it's this literally, I chose this lifestyle. I enjoy it. I'd be bored if I didn't do anything else. Again, 2 more points on that. Amazon Unicorn Smasher. Literally, download that fucking Chrome extension and look for products. And also, one thing I missed was Facebook.com/ads/library. Those are that's another free tool that you can search competitors' ads and see what they're doing. So everything that we do is all about pattern recognition. So understanding if it's selling on Facebook, if it's selling on Amazon, if it's selling via Google, those things, that combination approach usually is the recipe for a product that has a higher potential to sell. That's all I really got. But I wanted to say, like, people say mindset and all this stuff, but honestly, like, it really is, you know, like, I'll probably stay up this weekend until, you know, for probably 15 hours this weekend doing my own product research, like via these tools that I'm telling you about. It's very real. I saw some girl here wearing one of our shirts. I think she left. She had a fake t-shirt on. And like, I found that on Amazon Unicorn Smasher. And last year alone, within a month and a half, it did like over $250,000 in sales. Wow. Via Google Shopping ad. So it's honestly not rocket science. It's more looking at what works and reversing into the result from that. Honestly, those tools that I just told you they help me out at least.
Really good stuff for sure, man. Wow. So any questions? Anybody have anything for the audience? This is probably a rare opportunity where you're going to see all these people here. Let's go.
Jumping on these trends and seeing what works already, that's something I've been doing. But one thing that I have struggled with a little is you see this product that's just huge, selling on stores, you see competitors selling it, Amazon. How do you know, I guess, like, tap, untap, like that topic? Like, nothing is really completely saturated if you market it properly, but how do you know, I can take this product and improve it without actually like manufacturing a new version of it, right? And actually sell it when this huge store is spending who knows how much scaling this product out for the past 3 months. How do you approach that?
So could you guys hear that in virtual? I think it's referred to like.
It was a little difficult.
Yeah, can you just like paraphrase it or something?
So it's a question of how can you tell if a product is saturated?
So it's more like there's these products, like everyone here is basically saying follow these trends, find these products that are already selling, which is something I've been doing. But what I notice is I struggle sometimes knowing, is this product too like saturated, I guess. It's nothing's too saturated because you can like market it differently or brand it or whatever, but how do you know that this is a good product? Like, it's not, because these big dropshipping stores have tons of budget. They can scale these ads and your ads are going to do well because people have already bought the product.
So the question is, in doing the product research and in finding and looking at the data that's showing that a product, has activity, he's asking, how does he know if it's already approaching saturation, if it's too saturated, or if it's something to jump in on. He's trying to identify how to distinguish that.
I can answer that really quickly. It's probably a much deeper answer. You're in Chicago too, so hit me up. I can answer things in more detail. But one metric is if they're running it on Facebook and a bunch of people are running on Facebook as an example, you know, look at other ad platforms as a way to penetrate a new audience. So a lot of people were selling that fake product that girl was wearing that we sold last year, and I found it via Amazon Unicorn Smasher. But then I realized that I could literally undercut the price slightly and serve them on a Google Shopping ad, and there wasn't really that much sales via that channel yet. So that's one easy answer. I mean, it's not an easy answer, but look at everyone's Facebook first, and it is a good channel, but there's other mediums that other people aren't tackling.
Yeah, so I can chime in here too, because I actually have a very different approach. I don't spend any time doing product research. I don't spend any time trying to predict what's like the next viral sensation, because here, at the end of the day, this is how it works, right? You have one product that's on AliExpress, and let's say 1 million people have access to it, and everyone can sell it, right? But how you choose to sell it and the type of feel that customers get in the process of you trying to sell it, starting from your ad to your website to your product page to how you're describing the product, is completely different. So 1 million people can be pushing the same product on AliExpress, but they can be pushing in 1 million different ways. And as long as your way is better than everyone else's, it doesn't really matter like if it's saturated or not. So I have sites that I started in August 2018 where I have made little to no adjustments to the catalog. It's been the same sites. They've done around $4 to $5 million in the first year, right? And they're still printing money right now, right? And it's not because, and they will never get saturated. And the reason is because even if 1,000 other people decide to sell that same product that, let's say, is driving most of my sales or group of products, it won't feel like my website. It won't feel like my ads. It won't feel everything in terms of a customer experience in the same way that I do it. And I know that's sort of how I win, right? So when I look at products to add, I don't really think about, okay, here's our order metrics or using this tool or that tool. Maybe it's different for Amazon. I'm all on Shopify. All my traffic is through Facebook Ad Manager. I don't look for these trends, and I don't look for like viral products to try to like hijack and ride the wave on. What I think about is what are needs that are currently unmet and how do I actually fulfill those needs, right? So I think about markets that are where the main players are sort of overpriced. People want the look, they want the functionality of the product of whatever these institutional players are selling, but they don't want to pay the price, right? So, you know, a big one for me for a long time was like drones, right? Like those little helicopter things that you fly around. And it's because majority of drones that are sold by DJI, which is the biggest producer, cost $1,000 plus. But hey, you have all these people that are interested in this technology that can't spend thousands of dollars on a toy, right? These weren't going viral on AliExpress. I built a drone website and it did really, really well. And it was one of my early successes, right? The government started regulating drones. So, you know, that idea is out of the window now, but it did really, really well. And it wasn't because I hopped on any bandwagon. It was just intuition. But I built my site in a way where, you know, I shot videos of the drones, right? Like I made really nice Photoshop infographics that aren't available on AliExpress, right? My site looked really, really premium. It looked really, really nice. And I know that even if 1,000 people started selling the same drone, they just can't touch me. We're not competitors really because we're selling in a very different way, right? Like if you started drop shipping winter coats from AliExpress on like a scammy general store where you have no continuity and it's just like a bunch of pop-ups and a bunch of scammy things and you have that little bar that's like, oh, we only have one left. Like you're not competing against the North Face, even if they sell a jacket that's just like it, right? Because on the North Face, you have a very unique feel and there's brand equity. So that's what I focus my time on instead of trying to find the next viral product. And what's happened is when I crack a puzzle on a certain niche, it lasts forever. And it's very automated and self-fulfilling. And I don't have to worry about stockpiling all these crazy products every single week or every single month or whenever expired. I've actually never made a single general store or a single product store in my life. All $20 million of my first year sales come from very branded, like really niche, premium feeling stores that you wouldn't be able to tell was a dropship.
Wow, powerful. And you know what? I mean, there's so much to talk about here, and I know we kind of blocked out a window of time, you know, for about a half hour to an hour here. So I want to give everybody a chance to maybe leave some closing remarks, or if you guys do have any remaining questions, throw them out there. But I want to be respectful of everybody's time here. So if you guys have any final questions, please raise your hand right now. And if you do, okay, go ahead.
Right, so I was running Facebook ads for a couple of months. I decided to stop them because my cost was just way higher, and I was getting it at different places like Amazon. But at Amazon, at some point, you cap the number of sales you can do a day because people are not looking for that product. So I wanted to scale on Facebook, but I'm not able to hit the right audiences. Like, I'm getting very inconsistent results with the same audiences. And I'm testing different audiences and even lookalike audiences. But it's just not working out as far as like getting a positive ROI. Like, what you do on Facebook to, I guess, get to the right people.
So you're selling the product on Amazon. You're running Facebook ads to the Amazon listing.
No, so I'm selling a product on Amazon.
So dropshipping for Amazon.
No, that's my own product. I manufacture it. I sell it on Amazon. I sell it on my website. On Amazon, I'm only doing Amazon sponsored ads. I'm getting sales, and I'm doing Facebook ads for my website, but I'm not getting enough ROI for the website players from Facebook.
Why don't you run your Amazon listing? I mean, if it's a product that's capable of getting a lot of sales on Amazon, and your goal right now is to get sales and get kind of traction going for that, and it's something unique that's not something easily taken from another third-party Amazon vendor, then I would double down on, you know, building up your Amazon listing and building up your keywords for people searching what they would search to want to buy your product instead of trying to get it on your own store. I would focus on one of the channels, and it seems like you're better off probably, you know, running some either Facebook traffic or, you know, better yet, like something, you know, more on the outskirts, like if Pinterest or somewhere else that's more targeted. You don't need a lot of visitors on your Amazon website, but you need very high converting visitors, because that is what's going to rank you up on the algorithm. And focus on optimizing your listing better on Amazon. Focus on the things that you can do with your time effort instead of with your money effort right now if you don't have a lot of money. So, yeah, I would focus on getting your Amazon listing better.
I would do like track people who are adding to the
Are you getting a lot of sales on Amazon? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how much a lot is, but it's
relative to you. It doesn't matter how much.
Yeah.
Okay. Then double down on it. You know, make a better listing. Try to be a vendor on Amazon so you get the manufacturer kind of description available. Get people to buy that you know, and then just give them the money back. So you have a verified review and have them, like, you know, take pictures and videos and like, wow, this product's amazing. Get really high quality, optimize your listing the best you can, and then give really qualified leads from very specific places. If you want to share your product, you don't want to share your product.
Yeah.
So think about like a very specific channel, like a blog, something very specific. It doesn't have to be a lot of people, but it has to be the fact that Amazon sees that, okay, 100 people came to this, 20 people bought. Okay, that's what gives it, not the quantity of people that go on there. That can actually email your listing. So focus on the quality of your Amazon listing and double down on Amazon. Like for you, I wouldn't focus so heavily on Shopify and try to get really good at all these other things, because that's a skill set in and of itself. If your skill set is like, I want to manufacture my own product and get some sales on it, go on Amazon.
Really good. Really good stuff. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Yeah, going up a little bit with that, like, you guys, like, if you guys already entered, like, or like, let's just trying to go to like, sell, like, you guys recommend getting better at Facebook ads or like Facebook and other branching out?
Brian, can you repeat that?
So the question was focused on.
Should you get good at Facebook ads? Probably. Yeah, because
Facebook ads
I mean,
over Pinterest.
getting good at Facebook ads, it's very weird because Facebook has made it easier and easier and easier and easier and easier and easier. So to launch the ad. So what it means is that unless you're spending a shit ton of money to do very more precise things that like you're squeezing out as much as you can out of it, it's all about the creative and the product experience. And so getting good at Facebook ads is a kind of weird thing now because it's not so much like you're a whiz Facebook person, because to be a whiz Facebook person means you need to be spending a lot of money to really harness the technicalities available from squeezing every last dollar out of your budget. But if you're only spending, a couple $100 a day, I mean, it's all about your creative and your product. It's Facebook ads. Getting good at Facebook ads, when I hear I'm really good at Facebook ads and I'm spending $50 a day, I'm like, what does that even mean? Because Facebook ads are so elementary. That's why everyone goes there. That's why we all talk about going to Facebook ads, because it's the fact of it is so easy and it is so campaign and product centric that getting good at Facebook ads only starts to matter if you're getting into a couple $1,000s a day stuff.
Awesome, really good. So that was the last question. I would say, maybe if you guys want to leave any final remarks for the audience, but I mean, I feel like with any of these guys, we can go on for hours going on this topic, and I really appreciate your time here today. And actually, let's just kind of give them a hand because really awesome. But if you guys have any final remarks that you want to share, you can do that.
Yeah. So first off, thanks guys for all popping out. I'm hoping that it was a really good event. I wish I could have been there. So one of my favorite parts about speaking at events is that I get to meet all of you guys afterwards. And this is the first time that I'm never in a position to be able to do that. I know a lot of you guys get to kind of get your actionable questions and your personal questions like one-on-one after these types of events when you're networking. So I'd like to still be able to offer that to you in some way. I'd love to be able to answer any questions or concerns any of you guys ever have. So my Instagram is just @Staiber, STAIBERR. And I want to get value from this too. So I'll help you guys out. You help me out. I'll give my course away to 2 people in that room. All you guys got to do is tag me on your story real quick @Staiber, and I'll give 2 of them. I'll pick 2 of you to give free courses to, and I'll help you guys out however I can. Hopefully that's enough value from me being away in Philadelphia. But I hope you guys had a great time. Thank you for putting me on the stage here, Brian, and giving me this platform. And thank you to the other speakers who made this possible. And hopefully you guys got enough value from this. And if I can offer up any more value going forward, I'm just a DM away.
Yeah, really cool. And we did have sheets printed out, so you could take a snapshot of everyone's Instagram account, and I'd say, these are definitely guys to follow, and you can even check them out on the podcast as well. Each of them, share their journey at a deeper level, which is really cool. So, any final remarks, guys?
Yeah, so I'll go now. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. It's so humbling, thinking about a year ago versus now that I'm even considered an expert in anything. I just think that at the end of the day, you have to look yourself in the mirror, as cheesy as this sounds, and really think about, do you actually want the things that you say you want or think you want, or is it just something that sounds good, helps you fall asleep? Because the beautiful thing about e-commerce, especially dropshipping, is that it is truly an even level playing field. Your dollar spent on Facebook is as good as Bill Gates' dollar spent on Facebook. If you both decide to make a $5 campaign, Facebook doesn't discriminate the performance of these campaigns, right? And we live in a crazy world right now where this is an industry that is so new that no one is really an expert, right? If you think about it, if you went to go work at a law firm as a lawyer, the oldest guy in the room is gonna be better than you at everything because it's an experience-based thing. If you go on Wall Street, the oldest guy at your investment bank is better than you at everything. And that's why he's getting paid the most. But it's not the case anymore because we sort of have a restart because all of this is so new. If you even think about how new Facebook advertising or Facebook with a pixel is, and when they do the CBO update, you know, in February, that changes the ad game, right? Like there's so many restarts in the space that anyone really can cement themselves as someone that can just take it all, right? I'm again sort of like what Joe said. I'm a DM away as well. Like follow me, send me a message. I will get back to every single one of you. That's something that I'm very passionate about doing, just because of the way that I started. And all of my educational content is absolutely free. I release 2 videos every single week with my business partner, who's more of the creative and graphic side. And we've had some great success stories, and we don't charge for anything we do because we're kind of on a quest to change e-commerce education because we're tired of seeing all the scams. So if that's interesting to you at all, just hit me up and we'll go from there. But thank you guys so much for this opportunity. Thanks to all the other speakers as well. I feel super blessed to even be on the same stage or virtual stage as you guys.
Great stuff, man. And thanks for trying to be here in person too. Yeah. Anybody else want to close out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm available for anyone at any point. If you're in Chicago, stay involved and follow Prolific Media. Sign up to our email list. The website's prolific.media. I'm Ramzey.io on Instagram, and we're here. We're at the office in the Sears Tower, or I think it's called the Willis Tower now. So we're an open book. If anyone has any questions, we're happy to help in any way we can.
Awesome. George, any final remarks?
Yeah, real quick. When you go to events like this, it's very easy to pick up information overload. You guys might have had 1,000 concepts thrown at you. If there's anything that I could say to you is just try your best to pick and choose what is most relevant to you right now and actually apply it. Because otherwise, you've wasted your time. Just as if you went through a course or you went through a YouTube video and you didn't apply it, it's a waste of time. So if you want to make sure you get the highest ROI from being at this event, try to pick and choose the knowledge that is applicable to your situation and then take action. That's really all I have to say.
Really powerful. George?
I mean, I'll double down on that and say, ask the question on what is it you want to accomplish for your next step. That's the most powerful because, it is information overload and it is like, okay, which avenue do I pick? But if you have a coherent question, you can find optimization problems for that question. I think the most difficult part is finding the right question for you, because solving most of these problems nowadays is really not that difficult. Like, you're not really solving like Elon Musk level problems. Let's be really honest. You're not solving really difficult problems. You're solving relatively easy problems with all the abilities available to you. Right now, it's about asking the proper question for you, and then just everything you start, looking at will feed into that question. You can look at a chair and think, oh, who's that manufacturer that produced that chair? And then go on a tangent that relates to that question. But first and foremost, you have to have a question on what is it you want to accomplish.
That's awesome. And 2 points before we get to Sean. Like I said, there's power in the patterns. So if you look at the virtual panel, go ahead and lean back, Jordan. What do you see that the pattern? They're all repping their own brand. They're all repping their own brand. So you're constantly doing things that, and there's definitely power in the patterns.
You got to give a shout out to Sean too.
And Sean as well, and everyone here, like, they're doing
Sean reps his brand better than anybody, man. He wears every jersey that he makes for every person. It's awesome.
Great stuff. And another cool story, Sean and I recorded the podcast just about less than a week ago. And then with all the guests, I said, hey, let me know if you're ever coming through Chicago. We'd love to host you here. And he's like, I'm going to be here next week. So, how many days did it take for us to put this together? 2 days. 2 days to put this together. And it's just really awesome stuff. But Sean, I'll let you close it out, brother.
Yeah, I'll stand up for this. Yeah, guys, honestly, thank you so much for coming. The power of Mastermind is insane. So I'll tell you guys a cool story. The first Mastermind or conference I ever went to was 10X Growth Con by Grant Cardone. absolutely changed my life. And now I'm actually working with Grant Cardone. I'm making jerseys for him. He follows me and we talk all the time now.
Wow.
And the power of these conferences, honestly, is not going to be in the talks that the speakers give. It's going to be in the networking. So you want to network with the speakers. You want to meet one person that's going to impact your life. If you're just going to come to these and not talk to anyone, you're going about it wrong. So definitely try to talk to everyone here, especially the speakers, and just level up your network, because your network is your net worth. So thanks again for coming, guys. It means a lot.
Powerful stuff, man. Hey, really good, man. Nice stuff here. All right, guys, so it's a wrap, and really appreciate your time, but that's about it. Guys online, thanks, brother. We'll be in touch, and like I said, we're going to share the recording, so if you didn't leave your email, leave it, because there's a lot of valuable things that you can re-listen to over and over again. But thanks, everybody. All right, guys, we can sign off.
Safe travels, everyone. See ya.